Hi there, I'm Lindsay and I've been working with a group of young people in East London. Together we've been putting together this film you've been watching, The Vampire Conspiracy. This film, it's completely fake. We made this film up and we did it to try to show you how easy it is to put together a film, put together a clip on the internet that can convince people of something that's just completely not true. I'm going to take you through the film now and show you some of the techniques that we used to do it.
Wait, let me try the whole thing from top right down to here.
I've heard the newspapers and that, and people around Poplar, I think it was Burdett, Milan, these places, there was people just taking bites at someone.
The starting point for our film is this story, this urban legend about vampires on the street, and we wanted to start with this because in order to convince you that you're in danger of rabid foxes, which is where this film is going, we have to at first convince you that there is actually some evidence that people are being attacked on the streets. Now, this is quite hard to come by because actually it's not happening. So what we try to do instead is convince you just by having lots of people talking about it, trying to give this sense that everyone else seems to know about this. And then maybe if they all know about it, if they're all talking about it, and if it's true for them, maybe it should be true for me, maybe I should believe it. This kind of approach of trying to get you to jump on the bandwagon, it's quite a common ploy that people use often. It's quite a desperate one as well, where you try to convince people that they should do something or think something just because everyone else is doing or thinking it. What we're not actually telling you though is that in order to get these 4 or 5 interviews with people talking about vampires and about something they heard, we had to interview dozens of people. Most people just said, "Oh, I know about that. It's rubbish. I know it's rubbish." But you'll notice we left all that out, and that's kind of an important thing. In our film, we're not often lying to you. Most of the time, we're either leaving things out or trying to use subtle psychological kind of ploys in order to convince you of things that you should probably be a bit skeptical about.
So once a human being is infected and starts showing symptoms, it is fatal. It is fatal.
Often when we're finding out about things, we're dependent on experts to give us information because we basically don't know any better. And so we look to experts to provide us with our opinions and things, and sometimes we don't even know we're doing it. But we knew this when we were making our film, and that's why we used 2 experts in the film to kind of move the story along and give you those parts of the film, the evidence that you need to kind of join the dots to take us to our final conclusion. Now, the reason why it's so easy to manipulate people with experts is because there's no real definition of what makes an expert. So you can very easily just put someone in your film, claim they're an expert when they're nothing of the sort. Now, that is exactly what we've done in our film. We've taken 2 guys, you might recognise one of them on screen now, and they've given their opinions. They've probably, hopefully, sounded pretty convincing, and we've put a little title there, so telling you this kind of grand expert title of what they are. But can you trust them? Well, the answer is no, you can't trust them. In particular, the second expert we put in the film, James Moulder, is actually a fashion designer. He's interested in dogs, he's interested in cats. Doesn't make him an expert mammologist.
In March 2005, the Daily Telegraph ran a story of a killing an Alsatian in broad daylight. Well, this completely baffled.
Generally, the evidence that we present, newspaper articles, magazine articles, TV news reports, these are real. Now, the problem with them is though that the way that we've kind of put them together, the way that we've arranged them, it actually makes them look as if they mean something other than what they do. And it's this kind of misrepresentation of the facts that kind of makes the film quite credible. Because if you were to check whether these newspaper reports exist, you'd find that they do, but that doesn't mean that what we're saying about them is right. So, for example, in the middle of the film, we're trying to prove to you that there's been this spate of fox attacks over the last sort of 5 years, this epidemic, and we show you all these articles and newspaper headlines, scary fox attacks. What we're not telling you though is that we've actually taken these articles from all over the last 30 years. They're not all just from the last 5 years, and actually they're not all from just the UK. They're spread over the whole globe, including countries that have rabies. So when you know this, it makes what we say about these articles completely ridiculous, and what we say in this part of the film is completely uncredible.
In March 2005, the Daily Telegraph ran a story of a fox killing an Alsatian in broad daylight.
Now this is the point in the film where we've introduced you to an enemy, a specific enemy that we've pointed out, and if you think about it, the whole film really leads to blaming the fox for absolutely everything. And there's a reason why we've done that. When we started this project, we actually set out to try to create a propaganda film that convinced young people on our local estate to support a lifting of the ban on hunting, fox hunting. And so the whole film really, what we're trying to do is influence the way that you, the audience, thinks about foxes. It's not about rabies, not really about government cover-ups, it's not really about vampires, it's actually about fox hunting. So this is something that I think it gets used a lot, and audiences like to be handed, you know, someone to blame. So if a film's pointing everything out that's wrong, and then it says it's all the fault of this person or this group of people, that's actually quite attractive because it just simplifies everything, makes it easy, and people like that. And we've known that in our film. We've known that if we can make everything lead to this one source, that it would influence people's opinions, and it would actually therefore influence their actions. And something that we did when we finished the film is we showed it in our local youth club to loads of the young people from around here, and afterwards we interviewed them, and we told them that fox hunting was banned, and then we asked them, well, should that ban be lifted? Should we be able to hunt foxes? And they all unanimously said yes after seeing the film. The other kind of technique that we've used in the film is to try to appeal to your emotions. We want you to be afraid when watching this film. And the reason is because we know that when you're feeling scared, when you're feeling emotional, you're less likely to be thinking in a rational way, and it's going to be easier to manipulate you. The way we've done this, and the way that advertisers and political campaigners and things like that often try to do this, is through music. So you can use music to kind of set an atmosphere, set a tone that really sort of underscores the message that you want to achieve. And that's what we've done in the film. So we've chosen music that you'd usually associate with a horror film, and we want to keep up that tension all the way through, keep up this kind of scary kind of world that you're in, finding out these things, finding out about these dangers. The key message really is that you're in danger, and the music plays a real role in sustaining it. Just to demonstrate how effective music is in changing the message of what you're showing, if I just rewind this bit of video for you now. See how different it feels with a bit Bon Jovi on it. I think the key point that we'd like people to take away from our project is just to be aware that they can be manipulated by the things they see online. I would say that I don't think that the internet is the root of all evil, and actually as well as another thing that's really important to realise, I think, is that propaganda is not always bad as well. Sometimes it's just as simple as someone trying to influence you to buy a soft drink or to wear a pair of shoes or something. It's not so bad, but I do think that you have a responsibility to educate yourself and to protect yourself from, I suppose, some of the messages that you're getting online. There are also other techniques that we've not gone into, and you can have a look on our blog if you want to find out more. It's www.digidisruption.co.uk. More techniques like Down with the Kids, which is what I'm doing now. So I've got my hood up, so I'm trying to seem more like you, so you trust me more. That's another technique that we didn't put in our film that I'm demoing now. Yeah, get in touch if you've got any questions. We'd love to hear from you about how you feel online, whether you feel safe, whether you feel like you need to know more, whether you believed when you saw our film, whether you believed it. But get in touch anyway through our blog.
Wait, let me try the whole thing from the top right down to here. Let me see if I can.